Hello and welcome to the Blood Red's morning bulletin. I'm joined by my fellow Liverpool.com and Liverpool Echo writer Andrew Beasley, and today we're going to get you through the latest morning headlines and talk predominantly about Sadio Mane and Luis Diaz. Let's start off with Mane. He was in action last night at the African Cup of Nations against Burkina Faso and produced a man of the match performance with a goal and an assist. Did you catch him in action, Andrew? And what did you make of his performance, if you did?
Yeah, I kept an eye on the game and watched the highlights. Yeah, he was really good, as you said. I think he seems to have been man of the match virtually every game they've played in this tournament. And he certainly deserved it last night. Obviously, an assist for the second goal and scored the third himself to sort of settle the tie after Burkina Faso had got back into it. So, yeah, he'll obviously be looking forward to the final. Senegal famously have never won it, and I think they've got a really good chance this time to put that to bed.
Absolutely. I think his goals and assists throughout the tournament have been key to Senegal's. I think, if I'm correct, he's only hasn't been directly involved in just a couple of Senegal goals at the tournament. So he's been very key for them throughout this month, really. And yeah, I think obviously there's a potential of potentially winning two trophies this month. How important? How do you think it could help him in terms of looking ahead to Chelsea and the League Cup final if he was to get a trophy in this competition as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's got to be a massive confidence boost for him if they can win the trophy. I mean, I was sort of trying to think how many players have won, Premier League, Champions League, and an international tournament. There's probably not that many, and Mane's got a good chance to sort of add his name to that list. Obviously, he may have Mohamed Salah standing in his way, depending on what goes on tonight. It could be on Sunday that one of them gets a massive boost and one of them gets a bit sort of let down. Obviously that will happen if they face each other. But yeah, obviously it's an exciting season for Liverpool. I mean, still in four tournaments with a chance of winning all of them as it stands. So it's obviously if whoever wins African Cup, if it's one of the Liverpool guys, then they'll be raring to go when they come back, I think.
Absolutely, and I think with Mane as well, there's the opportunity for him to break the Senegal all-time top goal scoring record still at the tournament, which is another incentive not to make history. It would be the perfect way to win Senegal's first African Cup of Nations and also break the goal scoring record for your country. It's not bad to get not a bad month, and then to get back to Liverpool high on confidence would be ideal, I think, for everyone involved. But his form at Liverpool has been sort of contested by fans. He's been criticised for being past his best. Would you agree with that assessment?
I think we hold Liverpool strikers to incredibly high standards, and rightly so because of what they've achieved over the years. And so that any sort of dip in that is seen as like sort of, oh, well, they're finished, they're past it. I mean, I don't think that about Sadio Mane, but obviously with Luis Diaz coming in, as things stand, they play the same position. So it's certainly going to apply some pressure on Mane. Whether he will feature less often going forward, I mean, that has to be a possibility at this point. But yeah, he's not sort of been at his best for the last 18 months or so for Liverpool. But he's still incredibly good. We mustn't lose sight of that as well. That they also have the problem, if you're not Salah and you're playing with Salah, he takes most of the headlines most weeks. So other players who are doing perfectly well, are doing pretty good, sort of perhaps don't seem quite as good in comparison as they would if they were playing for somebody else. But it's certainly an interesting time for Mane, as I say, because his spot in the team is going to come under pressure now.
Yeah, I mean, I think statistically as well, he hasn't had a bad season if we're looking just purely based on stats and his goal scoring output, and in terms of finishing as well. He's been up there this season. But like you mentioned, Luis Diaz is someone who's meant to be arriving at Liverpool today. We might even see some pictures of him at Melwood later. Obviously, still awaiting a work permit, so he'll have to get that sorted as well when he arrives. But it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he's 25, Mane is going to be 30. He seems to be on the prime of his career, and it does seem like he is someone who prefers to play on that left wing spot, where obviously Diogo Jota is also capable of playing. So with Mane's contract running out, I think it's going to be an interesting 6 months for him as well to see where his future lies potentially.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody's excuse me, everyone's excited about Diaz coming in, and understandably so. But it could mean that one of the main forwards leaves this summer. You know, there's only so many sort of spots available. And as you say, I mean, Firmino, Mane, and Salah, when next season starts, they'll all be in their 30s, and they'll all be in the final year of their contracts, at least as things stand. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility at all that one of them could leave this summer. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. But obviously, it's good to have, you know, fierce competition for places up front, and they've certainly got that now. And obviously, there's guys like, you know, Cade Gordon. He's going to struggle to get in ahead of those guys, of course, but he's looking like an excellent prospect as well. So yeah, they've with Jota, Diaz, you know, two players in their sort of mid-20s. They're going to be in the team for, I don't know, maybe the next 5 years if they want to be. So yeah, it could be a big summer in terms of a big name leaving, and I guess Mane has to be possibly one of the options if they do give Salah this new contract. But obviously, there's a lot of ifs and buts there at this point.
Absolutely. I think from a Liverpool perspective, winning this tournament as well could make him particularly marketable in terms of his selling value in the summer. Another strong season as well on top of that. Whereas with Firmino, if it is between Firmino and Mane, you look at that and it definitely seems like Mane is the one who could potentially recoup the most amount of money in terms of a sale for Liverpool.
Yeah, you would think so. And obviously, Firmino's had a strange season because obviously he's had quite a few injuries and things. But generally, when he's played, he's actually done better than he has for a while. Quite a few goals and assists. You know, he's scored or assisted about every 75 minutes or something like that he's played. So he's been, you know, he's had a good season, just interrupted by injury. And yeah, as brilliant as he is, I don't think he'd bring in as much money as Mane. So they may look to cash in on Mane while they still can, which would sort of feel sad, but I guess it's going to happen sooner or later. It's just inevitable. But yeah, I think Mane perhaps the most likely to leave, but we'll have to see what happens.
I think what I've been impressed by Firmino as well is his ability to come off the bench and score goals, almost Origi-esque at times this season at Liverpool. So you could certainly see that he's someone who could potentially play a peripheral role in the team. Whereas with Mane, I think it's very important for him to get a good run of games going in terms of his form as well. So I think maybe Liverpool potentially look at that as well. And then in terms of Diaz, how excited are you about his arrival?
Oh yeah, I mean you have to be excited. I mean it's always more exciting when you sign attacking players. You know, Ibrahim Konate looks like a good signing, but it's not quite as exciting when you sign a centre back as when you sign a, you know, South American forward or whatever. But no, he looks very good. I mean, obviously I've been going through the stats for different articles and different bits and bobs, and yeah, he's just really impressive. Like his sort of dribbling ability. I wrote a thing yesterday on you know, the number of times he dribbles and it leads to a goal or a shot or a chance, and he's way above anybody in the Premier League for those statistics. Now, obviously, the Premier League's a higher standard, so you know he may not be able to maintain that form to quite the sort of same level. But I think he's one of those players that when he gets on the ball, he's going to get the fans on their feet, anticipating that something's good is going to happen. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see. Obviously, you know, historically, Klopp has tended to not throw players into the team immediately necessarily. So whether we all want to see him play sort of every game, whether that'll sort of happen in the remainder of this season. But yeah, he'll obviously play at points, and just having him in the squad is going to be excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be interesting when we will see him for the first time in action in the red shirt. I'm sure it's going to be very exciting. I think that about wraps it up for today. Make sure to check out the rest of the Blood Red content.
I think Penn's gone, hasn't he?